Here we have the Dell Inspiron 14 7000 series 2-in-1. Now the 7000 series of all the Inspiron computers, they're supposed to be their sort of premium version of the Inspiron series, stuff that can kind of rival the XPS, and they're more powerful. They tend to be built a little bit better than the 3000 and 5000 series, come equipped with better processors, faster RAM, this kind of thing. So today what we want to find out is if this 14 7000 series is in fact premium, and if this is maybe one of the best 14-inch computers that you can buy in the world. Let's get some specs out of the way really quick. This one has the 4500U processor, which is supposed to be sort of energy efficient, and quick hint, it's not. It has 8 gigabytes of RAM, and it has a 256 gigabyte solid state drive. Now, all in all, I'm actually a big fan of this computer. You can find these things for probably about 600 bucks on Amazon, kind of depending on, or in that price range, depending on where you shop around. But the point is that for that price, you have incredibly good value. One of the first things that you'll notice about this computer is its build quality. It's stiff. It's made of good, firm materials. The plastics are really good and refined. It's got nice metals on it. All in all, this is one of the best built computers I think that you can buy, and certainly one of them in the $600 price range. It is the 2-in-1, so it folds all the way backwards and turns into a tablet. And for those that are curious, yes, it does have Dell's Active Pen support on it. You can get, I think it's the PN350M, something like that. I'll put a link in the description to where you can buy the Active Pen on it. Now, my feelings on the whole tablet thing, I do still maintain that that is a slightly gimmicky feature. I do genuinely feel that if you, I'm not gonna put any kind of like tests on here on this video, but I do genuinely feel that if you want the notebook writing experience, you are probably gonna wanna stick with something like an iPad and then use like Apple's pen support. It is just the best in the industry. The other ones just don't come close to it. Although, I'm sorry, I take that back. The Microsoft Surface Books have some very good pen support as well. But even Dell's, Lenovo's with their Active Pen support, it's just not quite the same. Note-taking, I don't know. One of my problems is that if you use this thing like a tablet, you're gonna have the keyboard like smushed on your desk. And then you're just gonna be sort of forcing it down, and I don't know, it's just a recipe for sort of like marring your laptop and kind of damaging it, and I don't know, I just don't like it. But hell, who asked me? All you asked was if it had pen support, and it has pen support. So moving on, back to its build quality. It's built incredibly well. It is also incredibly quiet. One of the complaints that we get from people on Dells is that the fans, for whatever, seem to ramp up, especially when you get them new out of box. Now, typically, we recommend people, we have a lot of people reaching out to us on YouTube about this. We typically recommend that people update the BIOS and just make sure all the drivers are up to date, and that does solve the problem like 95% of the time. But that said, out of the box and after you do the updates on this thing, it is super quiet. Even under full load, it's very quiet. But when it's just sitting on your desk doing nothing and you're just kind of typing away on a Word document or browsing the web, something like that, you cannot hear it at all, and that is pretty damn awesome. Some other notable nice things about it are the display. It comes with a 14-inch touch full high definition screen. It's very crisp, it's bright, it's calibrated well. The whites are fairly accurate, the blacks are very dark. All in all, it just gets, it's just a very nice quality panel that they slapped in this thing. The viewing angle is a little bit, it's not as great as I wish it would be. It doesn't really translate on camera all that well, but if you see how I kind of move the computer, it does get a little bit darker, and it is not bad. It is just slightly below average as far as angle is concerned, which is a little bit curious because the speakers that they put in this thing are fantastic. It's the kind of speakers that if you had like friends gathered around your like desk or table or something like that, you could watch a movie on this thing. The only problem is that people really kind of looking from the sides are just not gonna be able to see the movie all that well. But that said, if you're right in front of the thing and working on the laptop like normal, it is a very good screen quality experience. The only other notable thing about the screen is that it is glossy, so it's bright, but it's not super bright, maybe like the 300 nitish range. But point is though, is that if you are outside working under full sunlight on like a college campus or something like that, it may get a little disruptive. You know, you'll have to just kind of find like nice shade under a tree to make sure that you can get your work done. Other than that, in a normal office environment though, it should be just fine. Back onto the speakers. They have, they get very loud. There's no distortion on them. The highs, the lows, and the bass is very good. I'm just gonna keep saying bass. You know, everybody was crapping on me for saying bass, but you know what? I am who I am, people. Accept me for me. I'm gonna say bass, okay? So, no distortion, has good highs, lows, and mids. Obviously, audiophiles are going to want a set of headphones if they're really trying to, you know, get that immersive feel. But these are some of the best speakers that I've ever heard in a laptop lately, much less one of this size. Dell did a pretty good job with these speakers. You could listen to a podcast, watch a movie on it, and certainly listen to music if you don't want to put headphones in your ears. You know, not great. They're good speakers, people. Am I making myself clear? Let's move on to some other things. It has a very nice keyboard. It's very accurate, it's tactile, the keys are kind of textured, it just feels good to type on. The keys are also backlit, which is a nice touch. It does not have a full-size numpad on it though, so accountants or people doing data entry might want to look elsewhere. But the point is though, is that the keyboard is a very pleasurable typing experience, responsive, it just does very well, keys are a good shape. Trackpad, for a computer this size, it is above average, it's very good. Trackpad doesn't ghost at all. Multi-touch, it just feels very good and responsive and natural to use. I think really my only complaint with it is that the actual pressing down on it it's a little squishy for my taste, but that's not a deal breaker at all. The trackpad is very good. And while we're on the subject of backlit keys, let's talk about some features of the Dell Inspiron 14 7000 series. So as I mentioned before, it does fold into a 2-in-1 tablet. It does have a backlit keyboard. It has a webcam with a little privacy shutter on there, so if you want to walk around naked in your bedroom and but don't want to expose yourself to the entire world, you can just close that little privacy shutter, which is a nice touch. Webcam on it is pretty, it's okay. I wish manufacturers would start putting in better webcams in their laptops these days. But that said, it's more than adequate for your typical Zoom, Skype, that kind of stuff. Here is what that footage looks like now. This is a test of the webcam on the Dell Inspiron 14 7000 series 2-in-1. And as you can see, it will be fine for Zoom, Skype, and all those other video chat programs. And really, you get what you pay for a $600 to $700 computer. That webcam it's more than good enough, I suppose, is the way to describe it. Has a Windows Hello compatible fingerprint reader on there, which is a nice touch as well. Comes with Wi-Fi 6, so you've got that super fast new Wi-Fi, and of course you have Bluetooth built in as well. Now let's talk about the input and output on this laptop here. So on this side, we've got a full size, and this is kind of the weights. The weight is all on these 2-in-1s. This is a very common thing. The weight is kind of all in the screen there. So like the balance on them is a little bit curious, but I just don't want to drop the laptop. That's also what I'm trying to get at. I don't want to drop the damn thing. So on here, you've got a full size SD card. You've got USB super speed. And then of course you've got a little headphone jack to plug in if you want that super audiophile quality. And then on this side, you've got USB-C. It is not a Thunderbolt port, and you can also not charge on it, which I'm gonna get into that in a moment. Another USB-C port, full-size HDMI in case you're like, where you wanna plug it into a projector or something like that. And then of course, where you plug it in, because like most laptops, it doesn't run on solar energy. I/O on this thing it's good. But here's the thing, the battery life on, now we're gonna get into some cons. The battery life on this thing it's kind of sucks. You can really only get practically about 6 hours of usage on this thing. And then of course you've gotta try to get that glare out of that way there again. Sorry for interrupting myself, people. There it is. The problem is that you have no other means to charge it other than, of course, the charger that comes in the box. So if you are in an airport traveling or something like that, not only are you going to be hunting for a power port fairly often, you're going to need one that actually has a traditional plug on it too. And I do think that is gonna be a deal breaker for a lot of people with this laptop. And it's kind of where I feel that Dell shouldn't have sold itself so short. See, the thing is this is a very good quality laptop. I actually really like it. Would highly recommend it. The quality is good. It's got a lot of nice features. It's pretty fast. I'll get into that also in a moment. However, if you are somebody that's traveling or needs to rely on the battery, and most people buying a 14-inch computer are those kinds of people, this laptop just won't be for you. There are so many other laptops out there with better battery life, and I think, frankly, maybe equal kind of feature set as well. Now, of course, if you want the better battery life, you're going to get into a slightly higher price bracket. But be that as it may, I kind of feel like Dell should have just focused a little bit on its energy efficiency, which they just simply did not do. Which leads me to then the next point about this computer. As far as speed is concerned on this thing, they put the 4500U processor in there, which again is supposed to be very good for power efficiency in the mobile platform. It is a very fast computer. It will boot quick. It'll do everything you need as far as performance is concerned. If you're doing multiple Firefox, Chrome, Windows tab, Edge tabs, those kinds of things, you're gonna have no problem knocking that stuff out. Excel, PowerPoint, you get that? I already said PowerPoint, didn't I? Anyway, point is that it is a productivity dream. It is the Cadillac of productivity computers. You will be able to knock out all of that stuff, no problem. I also think that you'll be able to do things like audio processing on this thing with no problem either. So if you're working in Fruity Loops or Pro Tools, something like that, you should be able to use this thing with a lot, just it be very effective for those particular usages. And then of course you have that USB-C port where you can plug in microphones, switch, that sort of thing as well. So that might be who it's for then, is somebody that's like a mobile traveler or like a mobile like on-site audio editor. I don't really think that you're gonna be able to knock out any kind of meaningful video editing with this thing. You'll be able to do some like very highly compressed 4K, 1080p stuff, edit Zoom calls, that kind of thing, but you're not gonna be able to knock out any kind of raw. You can certainly use this thing for Photoshop. It'll be great for that. The screen quality is very, very nice, high res for that too, especially in the 14-inch screen. And then I think people that are like wanting a slightly more premium laptop, like nonprofits, people that just kind of, you know, work, but this thing that it just sort of sits on a desk, that is who this computer is for. I don't think it's for accountants or people that do data entry because you don't have the full-size keyboard on it. And I also don't think that it is for people that travel a lot because it just doesn't quite have the battery life for it. I do really like this computer and we do recommend it. It's a good one. We enjoyed using it in our tests, and it is of course Windows 11 compatible. My only hesitance is that if you need it for those specific purposes, you may want to look elsewhere. Anyway, that is the review of the Dell Inspiron 14 7000 2-in-1. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us in the comment section. Please like and subscribe. Tell your friends, your family, tell everybody because you know, I really want to make this work, people. But we will be back with another video really soon.